Not every season in disc golf is going to be perfect. I remember just a few years ago where it felt like we had all the highest ranked guys playing at the top of their game. But now, well, it's been a different start to the year. Ricky Wysocki, clear world number 1 at the end of 2022, it was looking like this was going to be another great season. That would not be the case, at least so far. Though he has had to battle with issues this year, his story is not over. This season, 2023, is not a wash for Wysocki. This is his redemption arc, time for the former world number 1 to take back his crown. Time for him to return to the Disc Golf Pro Tour. Here we go. Before we can look into the start of 2023 for Ricky, we have to establish some of the issues he's had in the past when it comes to his career. In 2019, at the end of the season, Ricky would pick up Lyme disease after being bit by a tick. For those who don't know, Lyme disease is a bacterial infection caused from black-legged ticks. Ricky had to pull out of USDGC at the end of the year due to being bedridden for 3 weeks from the disease. This was just the start for Ricky with Lyme disease. For him, it seemed like a constant battle. For anyone who follows him, he seems very regimented when it comes to keeping himself as healthy as possible. In 2022, he would have to take a break due to a flare-up. Watching him play the OTB Open on basically one leg was kinda crazy. He would take 5th place still, an amazing feat with what he was dealing with. 2022 would still be his year though, ending with a Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship win and clearly the world number 1. He was looking untouchable as long as he was healthy. If he showed up 100% healthy for an event, he would be in contention. That's his playstyle. He has incredible distance with all the shots, so the open courses he can dominate at, and when it comes to the tight courses, he's able to dial it back and play incredibly accurate. So, 2023 was about to begin. Could Ricky continue his dominance at the start of the season? Could he lead a team to victory in the All-Star event? As the build-up for the All-Star event happened, one thing would become apparent for the world number 1. With the rivalry between Ricky and Paul McBeth, these two as team captains were going to make for an amazing event. But that would not be the occasion. Before the event would begin, Ricky would announce that he had some swelling in his wrist. Not wanting to push it, he pulled himself from the event and subbed Corey Ellis in for his spot. After the All-Star event, the Pro Tour would have its first Elite Series tournament, the Las Vegas Challenge. This too Ricky would pull himself out of, still having issues with his wrist. The next event, he would again pull himself out, the Waco Charity Open, but he would make his official first event of the season at the Open at Austin. Still battling wrist issues, he would play through it, finishing the first 2 days. But during the final round, he would pull out DNF with the same wrist issues. He would later announce that he needed to take the correct time off. He would leave the tour for another month until the Music City Open. Now at this time, other players are establishing themselves with point totals. Ricky is dropping back every event. Even though he's missed quite a bit of the season so far, there was still an expectation from the former world number 1 to compete upon his return. The Music City Open would not disappoint. He wouldn't win, but finishing in 8th place was still really solid. Right after that, he would head to the Blue Ridge Championship and finish in 6th. Things were looking up for the champ heading into the first major title of the year, Champions Cup. But again, he would have to drop from another big event. This time taking different steps to recovery. Heading to Florida for a couple weeks to rehab, after being so close to winning the title in 2022, Ricky would not get a second chance at this year. Instead, the disc golf world wouldn't see him for a month. He would return, but not until the Pro Tour was on its official West Coast swing. Up to Portland, Oregon we go for the return of Ricky Wysocki. One of my favorite courses to watch, the Beaver State Fling event, is always something special. And for this year, it had the addition of Ricky Wysocki to the field. Expectations weren't high. As fans, we just wanted him to get back into the swing of things as healthy as possible. Competing, yes, but the main goal was just to have him back. After a couple rounds of disc golf, Ricky was in the hunt tied for 5th place. He would need to completely pop off in the final round to catch the leaders, but still, he was right there. The final round wouldn't go as planned. He dropped back to 11th place, but the finish was a finish. Ricky was back, hopefully to stay. After the Beaver State Fling, the tour would head up to Washington State for the Cascade Challenge, then drop back to Portland Open in, Portland. The Cascade Challenge is a new event for the Pro Tour, an amazing course up in Shelton Springs. It was a beautiful place to watch some amazing disc golf. Ricky would attend the event, shooting an impressive 9 under in the first round. But he was heavily overshadowed by James Conrad, who would shoot 14 under par. Absolutely an insane round of disc golf. In 6th place after round 1, Ricky would have to make a move toward the top, posting the score of 9 under in round 2. Conrad would have a putt on 18 in round 2 to take a 5-stroke lead over 2nd place, Ricky Wysocki. But he would 4-putt instead, now starting the final round with a 2-shot lead. During that final round, players at the top would start pretty similar, most a couple under par until hole 7. 7 through 11 would be the stretch where Ricky would start to turn up as Conrad and company turned down. Hole 7, here's Ricky's drive.
Ricky pulling over on this felon.
That's another Ricky.
Easy birdie after that. Hole 8, he would have a jump putt for eagle, which would almost drop. Another birdie there. Hole 9, he would have this step out putt for birdie.
Top of the rim.
Yeah, James with some rare visible frustrations. And
Ricky going to.
After 9 holes, he would now have the solo lead, and well, he never gave it up after that. Evan Scott would be just one shot back after 15 holes. Matt Bell moving up 10 spots on the day in the clubhouse and 26 under par. For Ricky, he was at 26 under par already. He needed to just capture one more birdie on the last 3 to beat Bell and make it just a one-on-one match with Scott. Hole 16, this is Ricky's drive trying to match Scott, who made a great shot already.
Pretty sweet ground play that Evan had too, and he puts a ton of pressure on Rick. Rick takes that felon.
Rick asking for no tree hits, and he also nearly finds himself inside the book.
2 to play, still with a one-shot lead. Hole 17, both contenders would throw the same drive. Ricky just a little in front of Scott. Here are both players' putts.
That is a really frustrating miss for him.
He knows he needs to birdie out in order to win, most likely.
2 strokes into 18.
Strong putt out of Ricky. Nice.
After that, Ricky had 2 shots to work with on hole 18. Even though he had the shots to give, Ricky doesn't back off on the final hole. Tight couple of shots for Ricky, but he gets another birdie to secure his first win of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a deep, dark place when you go from being best player in the world to not even being able to compete at all. That's a tough spot to be in for sure. One extreme to the other, but I kind of feel like I felt like a caged animal, just waiting to get out there for competition. And this week was the first week I really felt 100% even all year. Last week I was getting there, but I still wasn't there. And this week I felt everything was clicking. My game's feeling good, my mental side's good, and there's just no ailments. And so I think when that's the case, I can win at any tournament, and I think that's reassuring to come out here and just win. And that's I know I missed a lot of events, so if I get in position this year, I want to take the strike and win.
Right after the Cascade Challenge would be the Portland Open. The newest venue for the Pro Tour would kind of be the opposite of where Ricky was able to win. Here at Glendevere East and West, you had to have a lot of power, great putting, and a splash of accuracy. For someone returning from a wrist issue, going to be hard for the full power for 4 days. Ricky would battle through though. Rounds 1, 2, and 3 were pretty good for Ricky, but what made the event special was his final round of 10 under par. He had flashes of brilliance, but wasn't able to connect on all 4 days. Finishing tied for 9th place, it wasn't a Silver Series win, but it was right up there at the top. A completely different kind of course than Shelton Springs, and yet Ricky was still in the mix. Not winning, but in the mix is what we're asking for upon his return. Highlight of the event for Ricky was during the first round on the 632-foot par 3. Check it out.
IT. Boost it.
Boost it.
Ricky's going to play
Boost it again.
Straight shot, and this is fading and has some danger associated with it, but he does clear the mandatory tree and
Incredible.
looks like he's near circle 2.
As you can tell, because they're all kind of bunched around these trees and not off to the right because they turned it over too much. Ricky Wysocki gonna go ahead and card his birdie there.
It seems like the same thing as last year for Ricky. As long as he's healthy, he's a force to be reckoned with. He was the 2016 and 17 world champion, and since then, he hasn't won a major title. Regular season, yeah, he's usually the best statistical player, but the key to being great is capturing those major wins. With the 2023 World Championship being held at Smuggler's Notch this year, a course where Ricky is incredibly dominant at, seems like fate for him. But the season so far has been up and down health-wise. He's shown that he can take it down when he needs to rest up though. And for the timeline, well, he's got plenty of events before the next few majors to give himself a good chance. Worlds, that's what we're looking at for Ricky this season. If he's 100%, he's the favorite to win the championship. He just has to get there. The redemption for Ricky this season has been awesome, but as a great man once said, job's not done. For Ricky, major title is what we're expecting from a player of his caliber. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to go check out RM Disc Golf on YouTube. Plenty of other videos on there just like this. Comment down below what you think of the redemption arc for Ricky Wysocki. How do you guys think the rest of the season is going to play out for him? Alright, we'll see you guys next time. Cheers.